Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and still enjoying this spooky season. If you'd like to see how I go from this to this, please keep watching. I got this jar of buttons from the Dollar Tree and I just chose 2 buttons that matched and I decided to paint them black. After my button eyes were painted, I put them to the side to let them dry and then I started on the doll's clothes. I used a black paint pen to mark all the edges of the shirt for the doll. After all my edges were marked, I just used some black matte paint to paint on the shirt. For my doll's pants, I just used a blue color to mimic jeans. I know in the beginning of this video you see some fabric that I was going to use for her clothes, but it just didn't work out, so I decided to paint clothes on. After her outfit was all dried, it was time to work on her hair. I used this entire ball of yarn for her hair. All I did was cut it into strips. Some of them were 5 inches long, some were a bit longer, and I used my hot glue gun to add layer by layer. To make the layers of hair, all you do is put a line of hot glue and then put the hair, attach the ends to the glue itself, and sometimes I'll use my nail or some tool to smooth it out just to make sure it doesn't come off when I'm cutting her hair later. But this part was extremely tedious. It took me over an hour to do her entire head. So if you want to make this part a little bit quicker, you could just paint the back of her head one color and then just put 1 layer of yarn on top with hot glue. I did use an Xoxo knife to smooth out the ends of the yarn and some of it came off and it kind of looked like baby hairs, which I thought looked pretty realistic. And now I'm just going to put the bangs onto the doll because I have a side part because 90s. So I have a side part and I wanted to make my doll have a side part as well. Let's all collectively ignore the glue on the top of her head. I should have painted over that, but I was just really excited to get the face done, so I kind of ignored it. I mixed together some red and white paint and I put on some blush because I love blush. Blush is a staple for me. If I could only use one makeup product, it would be blush. I know most people say like mascara or concealer, but I love me some blush. So I put a good amount on my doll because I wear a good amount as well. I then set my button eyes down on top of the blush and I drew on a nose, a mouth, and eyebrows with a pencil. For my doll's lips, I just mixed together the blush color with a little bit of white to make it a lighter pink. I kind of wanted it to look a little more flesh toned, if that makes sense. I eat a lot and I don't really wear lipstick because I eat a lot and I don't want to keep reapplying the lipstick. So I mostly just wear chapstick. So I just wanted my doll's lips to match mine and just look like a light pink. I then mixed together some white and brown to make a flesh tone color and I just colored in my little nose. I do have freckles on my cheeks and on my nose, so I just mixed together some of that brown and white and I used the back of my brush to put on a few dots here and there. Using my trusty calligraphy pen, I just outlined all the pencil markings of the eyebrows, the nose, and the lips. For my doll's button eyes, I just glued those on with some E6000. You could sew those on if you'd like. I just decided to put some glue because it was quicker. For my doll's pants, I just used some blue puffy paint to make a line at the top of the pants, and I also added a zipper and a pocket on each side of the pants. I just thought it would give it a little bit more dimension and make it look a little bit more realistic. And for my doll's top, I decided to put a line of black puffy paint underneath her shirt and around her collar where the turtleneck starts. Using that same black paint from before, I just filled in that little section of the shirt that needed more paint. Using my pen one last time, I thought my doll needed a little bit of something, so I added some lashes. Because I have layers on my hair, of course my doll has to have them as well, so to recreate this effect, all I did was grab the last section of hair and cut it to her kind of mid-back, and then I kind of went shorter each section that I grabbed. It makes like a stair effect, so the bottom one is the longest, and it starts getting shorter as it tapers to the top of her head. The first section of the layers are at the very top of her head, and then it just keeps tapering down longer and longer. For the front and the sides of my doll's hair, I just cut it at an angle and it created the same tapered effect as it did on the back, and it was a lot easier because there was less yarn. And here I just wanted to show you guys all the layers of her hair and trim off a little bit of that excess yarn. So when I was at Hobby Lobby, I bought this doll, and next to the doll were these shoes and these clothes, and I just thought, oh, perfect. I wear flats all the time. She's gonna wear flats like me. They look hilariously ridiculous on her feet. She looks like she has hardcore cankles. I don't know what happened, but I wasn't gonna paint shoes on if I already bought shoes. So I kind of stepsister Cinderella this thing, and I shoved her feet in there, and the shoes were on. Now that my doll is all done, it's time to start on the glasses. I bought these glasses from the Dollar Tree, and I just like them because the wire is super bendable. So all I did was remove the tags, and then I popped off the lenses and these little nose thingies. I don't know what they're called, but they kind of hold it in place on your nose. And I didn't really need to snap this part off because I was going to snap off the bottom of the glasses themselves. So you can completely skip this step. I already did it, so I'm going to show you guys. And then after that, I'm going to pop the lenses out. After all my lenses were popped out, I used some wire cutters and I just cut off the bottom portion of these glasses, and I also made sure to make it as close to the top as possible so they wouldn't be poking me or poking my boyfriend, because I made him a pair as well because these are for our Halloween costumes. And all I did was do the exact same thing to the other one, and then I glued them onto my buttons. And here I am measuring the buttons on the glasses themselves just to make sure that the metal part wasn't covering those little holes. I had to bend one pair of the glasses to make sure that those holes weren't covered, but the other pair was perfectly fine. And then I just made sure to glue it in place with some hot glue. I used a lot of hot glue for this just to make sure they would stay in place and stay on all night. And then I added a dab of hot glue on the parts of the nose, those little dots right there on each side of that nose part, just so that part didn't scratch up your nose. And of course you can leave them as is, but I didn't want any of the metal showing. I kind of wanted all the metal parts to be a little skin toned. So I mixed together some brown and white and yellow for my skin tone because I have yellow undertones, and I painted everything metal the skin tone color. And then for my boyfriend, he has more pink undertones, so I mixed together the brown, white, and a little bit of pink to make his. And here's the finished product with me and the doll and the glasses. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe if you're not already. And if you do recreate this, please tag me because I would love to see any recreations you guys make. Happy Halloween, and I will see you guys later this week.